Right now, most people think it's a bad time to invest in property, so they're waiting. But Andreas didn't, and one decision he made could generate over £80,000 in profit on a single deal. And the interesting part, it has nothing to do with timing the market. See if you can spot what he did before I show you. This is Andreas. He's buying this 2-bedroom flat and making one change to it that completely shifts how it's valued. Let's take a look around before we speak with Andreas. Before we walk through it, this was the original layout. Before we even go inside, context matters. This is a private low-rise block within a well-maintained development. The communal gardens are kept in good condition, which typically attracts a mix of owner-occupiers and long-term tenants. It's also within walking distance of West Croydon Station and close to local schools. That combination, transport, schools, private development, supports a stable rental demand. When you're considering adding bedrooms, location stability matters just as much as layout potential. And one small change inside this flat is what moves it into a completely different price bracket. There's one specific change Andreas is making that completely shifts how this property is valued. I'll show you exactly what that is in a minute, but first you need to understand why this layout even allows it. And what this becomes once it's done is very different to what you're seeing now. As you enter and head upstairs, there's a storage cupboard at the top of the stairs. Now this might look insignificant, but this space gives us optionality. See if you can spot before I show you, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's a clue. The cupboard connects something far more important than it looks. If you look at the layout here, the cupboard sits right next to the kitchen, which is what makes this whole reconfiguration possible. One potential strategy is to use this cupboard position as an entrance into the newly created 3rd bedroom. This would allow the converted kitchen space to be larger, and crucially, it avoids the need to create a protected corridor through the open plan living area. Small structural changes can materially affect compliance and layout efficiency, and this decision here has a bigger impact on the final value than most people realise. The living room benefits from 2 windows, which brings in lots of natural light. When you're increasing bedroom count, you have to preserve light in communal areas. If the space feels compromised, valuers and tenants notice immediately. Light protects value. Because if this space doesn't work, the whole strategy starts to fall apart. And this matters more than you think, because this is where most conversions fail. There is also a separate dining area with a large window. This separation is important because it gives flexibility in how we reposition the layout without making the property feel forced. And this flexibility becomes important later, when we look at how the layout works as a 3-bed. This is the existing kitchen. You can see the boiler in the corner and the stud walls along the back. The key point here, these are non-structural walls, which means that we have flexibility. Being able to remove stud walls safely is what creates the opportunity to increase usable bedroom space. Structural constraints often determine whether a conversion works or fails. And this is where Andreas has a real advantage, because he actually runs a kitchen and bathroom installation business. So when he looks at space like this, he's not guessing. He knows exactly what's possible and what it costs, and what actually adds value. Now this is actually where the real opportunity is, and most people wouldn't even have seen it. On the floor plan, this is the key move. Taking this kitchen space and turning it into a 3rd bedroom. Most people would walk past this and completely miss what's possible here. Upstairs, this is the main bedroom. It's a good size and benefits from 2 windows. There's also a large cupboard, which Andreas is considering converting into an ensuite. Now again, this comes down to market positioning. Does an ensuite materially increase rental demand in this micro location? Or does maximising bedroom size create stronger valuation support? Those are strategic decisions, not cosmetic ones. And this is where a lot of people make the wrong call, which can actually reduce the value instead of increasing it. This is the 2nd bedroom, already functional, which means any value add strategy here is about increasing overall bedroom count, not correcting a flaw. That's an important distinction, so the opportunity here isn't fixing something, it's changing what the property becomes. The existing bathroom is tired and undergoing a full renovation, but this isn't about luxury finishes. It's about bringing the specification up to a standard that supports the repositioned asset. Over improving rarely increases valuation. Appropriate specification does, because over improving here won't actually move the valuation the way people think. Downstairs you can see the strip out has already begun. Kitchen about to be removed, gas safely capped. There's also an estimator on site reviewing refurbishment costs. Before committing to any structural change, we confirm, are the walls stud? Are they non-load bearing? And can they legally be removed? This is where many investors go wrong. They assume flexibility before verifying it. Here we've confirmed the rear walls are stud construction, which gives us scope to reconfigure safely. Conversions only work when structure, compliance and valuation all align. Otherwise, you're just creating expense. And once you've seen how this all comes together, the numbers start to make a lot more sense. So here's the shift. This is the moment everything changes. Now here's the part most people miss. This isn't about a nicer kitchen or a better bathroom. And here's the key shift. It's not adding space. It's about changing what the property is. As a 2-bed, it's compared against other 2-bedroom flats. But once it moves into a genuine 3-bed, it moves into a completely different category. Different buyers, different demand, different pricing. Markets don't price finishes, they price categories. Now here's where it either works or it completely falls apart. Because if it wasn't accepted as a true 3-bed, the numbers don't work at all. Purchase price £274,000. Refurbishment, lease extension and associated costs around £60,500. So the total money into this deal is £334,500. Now here's where it gets interesting. Once finished, the expected end value as a genuine 3-bed is around £400,000 to £420,000. And this is exactly why. Because a 3-bed is now being compared to completely different properties. So you're looking at a projected profit of roughly £65,500 to £85,500, which is about a 20 to 26% return on cost. And that's not coming from the market going up. It's coming from changing what the property is. Now compare that to what most people would do, and if you're honest, that's probably what you would have done. They'd buy this standard 2-bedroom property, maybe refurb it slightly and hope the market goes up. But that's not where the value comes from. The value here comes from something very specific. And once you see it, you start looking at deals completely differently. This is how serious investors think. You're not just buying property, you're allocating capital. You're asking, can I buy this below its true value? Can I change how it's used? And can I move it into a different price category? Because when you do that, you're not waiting for value, you're creating it. Now this only works if a few things line up. The layout has to genuinely support a 3rd bedroom. The conversion needs to be compliant and the valuer has to agree it's a real 3-bed. Because if any of those don't work, the whole strategy breaks. Now, what's interesting is this deal almost didn't happen. Not because of the numbers, but because of something else most investors completely underestimate. So I wanted to understand what Andreas was thinking, what concerns he had, and what came up along the way. Why did you decide to buy this particular property, and what stood out about it to you?
The reason why we bought it, it was the price. It was a very well priced.
Yeah,
Just before it went on the market. Then the reason why we bought it was that it had a huge potential to
yeah.
convert it in terms of adding a bedroom, fully refurbishing, extending the lease, so just increasing the value in these 3 areas, and plus the price was good.
And this is what good deals usually come down to. Yes, location matters, but it's a combination of buying well and having a clear value add strategy that really drives the outcome. Why this particular area? Why did you choose, this particular location?
The location didn't matter that much because these 4 areas tick the boxes, but it came out very nice because it's so 700 meters away from the Croydon station, which
Yeah.
turned out to be quite good. The area where we bought is seemed to be one of the better ones in the Croydon area. It's nice and green and has a good way of attracting families because the parks and schools are around. But the main were the price, potential to the property to add value.
So the area ticks the boxes, close to transport, good demand, strong fundamentals. But what really makes this work is what he's doing to the property itself.
And then, was there anything that you were worried about before committing to this property? Anything that nearly kind of stopped you in going ahead with it?
No, there wasn't anything like that. The only worry was that uncertainty on the lease extension, the
Okay.
process, and the
Yeah.
costs.
I guess on the lease extension side, we obviously, kind of found out the cost of extending the lease before. And, it was reasonable, wasn't it, the cost of extending the lease on this one?
Yeah, it was very, very good price.
How much? It's £5,000, wasn't it?
Uh, yes. Well, we haven't fully completed, so I cannot reveal the number, but it's within
Yes.
that figure.
And then in terms of the refurbishment, like have you faced any kind of challenges since you've started the works on this property?
Challenges, not really, no. But we had some things that we had to make decisions on site. That's mainly was to do with the flue, the
Okay.
boiler, because we repositioned the boiler in the kitchen, and
Yeah.
obviously we don't own the building, so we had to be careful where we drill. Then the other thing maybe was with dealing with the building control. But they were
Yeah.
very straightforward, and we were not doing any structural and complicated stuff, so that was
Yeah.
quite straightforward. But yeah, everything seemed to be quite straightforward. Yeah, we didn't have anything so far because we are so halfway into the renovation process. So far, so all good.
And this is important. Most people expect refurb projects to be complicated, but when the layout works, they're actually quite straightforward.
In terms of like, can you break down the numbers in terms of like the purchase price, the refurb cost, and what you think it might be worth once finished?
The numbers are quite simple. The acquisition cost is 274,000. Then we had the simple stuff like full rewiring, which came at just over 5,000, including the second fixed items, probably will reach around six. Then we had a new boiler installed. That's around 3,500. The lease extension, you already covered that. Then we had the labor element. We we're hoping to fit into £20,000 for that. Then we have hard finishes like flooring, bathrooms,
Yeah.
kitchen, doors, all that kind of stuff to be in at around 25,000 because we want to go for a premium option. So we're buying premium kitchen, premium bathroom.
Yeah.
The flooring is so towards the premium and also including two wardrobes into the top floor. So that's why the number is a little bit higher, and we estimate the holding cost to be just over 1,000. That's just for the bills. So total all-in cost, because as I said, we haven't completed, should
Yeah.
be within 330,000, 340,000, within
Okay.
that range. Yeah. And expected resale should be able to achieve around 400,000, but hoping to get around 420, if not potentially more, because three-bedroom apartments like this, it's quite unique in that
Yeah.
location. Plus, the finish we're going, it's more towards high end. Well, I'm hoping between 400, 420 mark, but as I say, we haven't marketed yet. We don't know what the demand will be like. But
Sure.
this is just a sort of overview of what the estate agent have suggested so far.
And this is where the value comes from. Not from the market going up, but from changing what the property is.
In terms of the kitchen, did you decide to put the bedroom door starting at the stairs or not, or starting from like the living room area?
No, we took your advice to start it from the stair side. So
Okay.
again, just for a few reasons. One was mentioned by you about the fire regulations.
Yeah.
So that's one of them, and the comment was made about the smell. So we don't want to have the smell coming into the bedroom from the kitchen dining area directly into the room, even though just
Yeah.
one door separating, it still can get in. But that's why now it's separated by two doors to get to the bedroom. So just prevent the smell coming through, and obviously, as you mentioned, the fire eggs.
What made you confident that, this would work as a three bed? I guess, one of the things that you did was that, you called out a lot of the local estate agents and you got their views and opinions, right, in terms of what this might be worth as a three-bedroom flat. So I guess that probably helped having their, help and advice.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
That's
cool.
right. Estate agents did offer their opinion, and we just made a decision.
Has there been anything harder than what you expected in relation to this project?
No, everything seems to be fine. It just the probably the lease extension process was quite
Yeah,
interesting and new, and keep on chasing these because we dealt with the management company.
yeah,
It's not an individual, so we had
yes,
to. All the communication is done on emails, and
yeah,
sometimes people forget stuff, and it just delays the process. And so that was quite a known factor, and obviously we had to overcome. As I say, we haven't fully completed that process, but nearing to that point. But I think to answer your question, I think this will be the area where it was more sort of uncertain and
yeah.
more to learn.
And this is the reality of property. It's rarely the refurb that causes delays, it's the legal and admin side that slows everything down.
You've been helpful so far, and
Okay.
thanks for that. As you probably noticed, we don't hesitate.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
We reach out immediately.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
No
thank
worries, no
you.
worries. That's what I'm
You've
here
been
for.
good.
So
You've been good in replying quickly, which is really helpful. And obviously, the information supplied is phenomenal. So thanks a lot.
no worries. All right. Well, honestly, like if you need anything else, just shout. And I know you will
Well
as
done.
well, but make anything like if you're worried about anything or uncertain, just shout, honestly.
And that's the difference. The numbers matter, but the thinking behind the numbers matters more. This deal isn't special because of the location, it's special because of the way it's been approached. Most people look at property and see what it is, but the real opportunity is seeing what it could be. And that thing I asked you to spot at the beginning, it wasn't complicated, it was just seen differently. And once you start seeing property like this, you realise the opportunity was always there. You just weren't seeing it. That's what creates the 65 to 85,000 pound profit. If you can spot opportunities like this, you don't need more money, you need better decisions. And the reality is, opportunities like this come up all the time. Most people just don't recognize them. And if you're looking at doing something similar, Andreas runs a kitchen and bathroom installation business. I'll leave his details in the description. If you want to learn how to analyze deals like this, my details are in the description.